Hi, and welcome to another edition of Woman Crush Wednesday Cyber Edition. I'm your host, Sega Thompson, the founder and CEO of Genesis Security Consulting Limited. And today I have a special guest, the one, the only, Sametria McKinney. Woo!
Yay!
Hi, Sam. How are you doing today?
I am well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to be a part of this show.
My pleasure.
Awesome. So we are going to just jump straight on in and get started.
Okay, sure.
So out of the gate, of all fields, why cybersecurity?
I didn't pick cybersecurity.
So cyber picked you?
Cyber picked me. Honestly, it really did. So I was a college recruit, and I remember when I was being interviewed by this oil and gas company that I worked for some years. They asked me, so what are you good at? What do you want to do? You know, we're recruiting you. And at the time I thought I was a programmer. And when they offered me the job, they told me that they were putting me in the information security department, and that's how it started.
Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
I didn't
You just really fell into it.
I fell into it, yes.
Okay. So you are an island gal, proudly representing the big yard of South Andres.
That is true.
The Bluff.
The Bluff. South Andres.
Family Islanders have made remarkable contributions to the Bahamas, often bringing unique perspectives and resilience. How has your upbringing and heritage from South Andres shaped the woman that you are today?
It's important to note that when you're from a small island, you're reliant on kind of limited resources. And what that brings out of you is a level of resilience that I don't think you can get when things are easily convenient. And so one of the things that I think being from South Andres really has taught me is how to be resilient and also how to be creative. So things are not going to be easily handed to you, certainly not growing up in the house with Eureka McKinney, my mother. And so you had to be creative, one. You had to be resilient. You also had to persevere when obstacles arise because, like I'm mentioning, you're growing up in a space where you don't have the convenience of a big city. You don't have the resources of, like, for example, when I was going to high school, I think we may have had 30 people in my graduation class, but I remember being in physics and we having one glass block. And so if you think about what that would look like, we didn't
I can't even fathom that. I'm like, first off, I did government school over here. I had about 30 places in just one class, not even 8. And there's quite a few of us, so graduating all together, that was like a couple hundred.
Yes, but I think one of the pros from that is that you understand how to rely on your community. You understand the power of close contacts with people who you know. You understand the importance of not only community, but answering when you're in your call, being a support for people.
Hey, first off, let's go back. Answering when you had options there.
Yes, that's true. You didn't have much offering, but I'm talking about answering from the perspective of help. When people ask you for help, showing up, adding value, being there, and then also not being afraid to also ask for help because you know you're working as a part of the community. So I was raised in an environment where my mom and my aunts would share food, and that same kind of close-knitedness brings a level of strength that, like, I rely on today.
Okay. And you've broken significant ground. You have become the first information security officer and later the chief information security officer at the Central Bank of the Bahamas.
Yes.
And now you're the inaugural director of CertBS. What has it meant to you personally and professionally to be the first? And how have you navigated the weight and responsibility that comes with paving the way for others?
You know, most times I don't think about myself as the first.
What?
I really don't. I really don't think about myself as the first. I mainly think about it from the perspective of that every time I have these types of big projects or I get these jobs that I always have to bill it. So I'm always in that space thinking, well, why can't I have it already established? I move in and I just do the job without thinking, oh, when you do this thing, you will be the first. So what does that mean to be the first or be someone who has kind of created made kind of big waves in these spaces? One is, I think it's Kamala Harris who says, I'm the first but not the last. if I'm quoting her correctly, so I misquote, please forgive me. So I feel like I'm the first, and I'm certainly not the last. I also believe that it's important for us to create spaces for others, and representation matters. So for me, I'm in this space because I've seen other people do this work, and I believe that I'm hoping that I'm creating the same type of representation for other people who may want to be a cybersecurity professional and feel that they can't. Because it's important to figure out not only how to get women and anyone who wants to be in the pipeline of cybersecurity in the Bahamas, but how to keep them there and how to develop this domain within the country. So from a place of first, I'm proud of the work that I've been given the opportunity to do. So I'm very grateful that I get to impact my country in this way. And I am excited for more, to see what, even though it's a lot of work, I'm excited. I'm still excited for more.
Okay. Many women may feel that cybersecurity is too technical for them. Do you have any words of advice that you would share with someone who is curious but not quite sure where they should start?
I particularly don't like the term too technical.
But that's how they say it.
I know.
They think of cybersecurity as very techy. A lot of people don't even understand that there's more to cyber than just monitoring the network. You say cyber, oh, you're a hacker.
I know, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I don't necessarily like the term too technical because I think it's divisive. I think the minute we start to play this game of who's technical and who isn't technical and how technical you are, it becomes divisive. It certainly becomes a deterrent for women specifically getting into this space. So on the term too technical, I want to say that no job is too technical for anyone to do. That's the first thing. So if a woman is asking me, is this role too technical? One thing I want to say is that there's so many avenues, one, to work in cybersecurity. There's so many career paths that one can take. They can be doing advanced cybersecurity technical work. Again, I tell you I don't like that. And they can also be doing education awareness. They can be doing governance, risk and compliance, policy development. There's so many domains within this field that I think we need to reshape the narrative of how you can enter the field and all the things you can do. Because I started out in IT security administration, and I've done a host of different things up to this point. So I've done e-discovery, I've done some threat intelligence, I've done programming, I've done cybersecurity leadership. There's a strategic leadership. There's so many things that you can do and you can get. And so I think the better thing is I want to make sure that women feel like they deserve to be in any spaces that they desire. And that my encouraging word to them would be, try it. This is a fruitful career. You can learn so much, and it offers a lot of job security.
Are you saying that, if you go into cyber, because there's technology is always moving, there's always someone that wants to hack you? Because that's how I feel.
Well, that's true. That is true. That's not true. Not only are there people that want to hack you, but also there's always someone that needs to mitigate those types of cyber risks. And so because of that, there's a big gap across the world where we need cybersecurity professionals. More importantly, if I dive down to what's in the Bahamas, we recognize that we have a small pool of cybersecurity professionals, or the talent pool for cybersecurity professionals is still small. And we are outsourcing a lot of the work that we do in cybersecurity outside of the country. So to close some of that capacity gap, and especially closing it with women, we need to promote cybersecurity as an accessible job for women.
Agreed. Do you have any words of wisdom for the next generation of women in cybersecurity?
I do. I mentioned this before, that this is fruitful work. It really is meaningful work if you are someone who like to be challenged.
I was thinking it in my head. If you love challenges,
if you
come on
like
down.
to be challenged, if you're someone who wants to, analyze, if you're a tinker, and you like to dig up in stuff, if you are kind of attracted to analysis, if you are attracted to risk, if you're attracted to science in general, cybersecurity really is a good space. And another thing too that I want to mention is that the face of cybersecurity is changing. So I want to see more diversity in this space. Before our time, we would see, the guy with the hoodie, and everyone assumes that, okay, you have to be a hacker. Even now, when people ask me, what do I do? And while I'm an ethical hacker by certification, that's not what I do. They say, oh, you're a hacker? No. Or they'll say, I want to be your pen tester. Like, those are kind of the two things that people know. So I don't
realize they still have to do reports.
Yes.
For pen testing.
So a lot of that is kind of saying, no, I want to make sure that we get enough diversity within the pipeline so that the face of cybersecurity does change, so that we are reaching out to people who are either already in the workforce, but they may be, prime people to be analysts because they have that knack, to recognize risk. I also want students to see cybersecurity not as a specialized job, but almost we get to the point where it's a traditional type of job to have, because with digital transformation and IT modernization, cyber risk isn't going away. It is actually becoming more relevant now with emerging technologies like AI. And so then, therefore, we need to adapt to that. And of course, then the face and the people who are a part of cybersecurity or working in this field has to change. So my real advice to them is that come on in. Because there's so much work to do, and there's communications. I mean, I can go on with the different types of jobs, but there's a job in cybersecurity that you can do and you can do well. So that would be my advice.
Okay, good advice, good advice. You have often spoken about building capacity through education and awareness. Are there any specific programs or partnerships that you have championed for girls and young women in the Bahamas?
Right off the bat, yeah, you and I did, by the way. So it's a pity that we've done this interview, we didn't give a backstory, but maybe we should give a backstory. So Sega and I did, way back when, at the Central Bank, a Cyber Teens event. And I think that was the first of its kind in the Bahamas. I don't think anyone else...
I didn't even remember that for a minute.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else at the time was kind of with lunch and gifts, and we're kind of zoning in on girls at the time in LA. And since then, I've been invited to participate in Girls in ICT events, both in the Bahamas and with other organizations in the region. I've worked with an organization in the EU, just kind of develop information for awareness with Get Safe Online, and also I've spoken on some of those panels. Right now, CertBS in partnership with OAS, next month we are putting on a She Secure Capture the Flag online event over the weekend for girls. And then a lot of the awareness and educational content that we provide right now through our website is targeted for all individuals, including boys and girls with varying ages. But so yeah, those are some of the work that I can pull off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking of, but I'm committed specifically to, maybe because I'm biased, right? I'm a woman, to wanting to promote spaces, create spaces and promote access really for girls in cybersecurity.
I think when you've been in the field as long as we have, we still know what it is to go to conferences and stuff and realize that you're grossly underrepresented.
That's true.
And I'm not just talking about you find very little women, and you find even less Black women there, and you be like, ooh. And then you go, I remember a few years ago, I went to, I think, the EWF conference, Executive Women's Forum, and it's just women. And that right there was just like, whew.
You feel seen.
Yeah, it's like, oh my goodness, there's so much of this.
You feel seen. I agree. I spoke at an event in June. I was invited to speak, and there was a big 5-day long event, and the list of speakers, there's only 2 women over 5 days, and I can't tell you how many speakers were there, but it was 2 women, and I obviously was the only Black woman or woman of color, right? And this was in the region somewhere else. I wouldn't mention it per se, but that speaks to what you're talking about when you talk about underrepresentation. For us, where there's a few of us in the country who hold senior cybersecurity roles, we are anomalies in this space. There are many times, even in this work and my previous jobs, I'm in a room, and I'll go as far as to say most times I'm the only woman represented there. I'm the only woman speaking or holding this, space. So I have forgotten the original question. We've kind of gone off somewhere because I need to figure out how to come back.
I think you already answered it.
But in truth, I mean,
I think we went off because we were talking about why you would champion so much for girls, and I said it's simply because you want to walk into a room and see more of women like us.
Yeah.
You want to know that when we leave this space that there are going to be some other people there, and there should be more coming behind us than is now, basically.
And we have to be intentional. Let me say this to the camera.
To the camera, lean in.
Lean in. We as women who hold these leadership roles or hold these spaces now, we have to be intentional about getting other women in the pipeline and mentoring them so that they can stay within the pipeline of cybersecurity. It's our job to do. We have to be intentional. That's it. That's my 2 cents.
Mentorship is indeed important because we have to pave the way for those that are coming behind us. And not only do we pave the way, we make sure that it's easier for them to get into fields like cybersecurity by education and letting them know what else is out there. So we are down to the last question.
That was quick. Time flies when you're having fun.
As someone who has led the establishment of key cybersecurity functions in the Bahamas, how important is strong leadership in building and retaining high-performing teams? And what qualities do you believe make people want to stay and grow under a leader's guidance?
So I'm thinking about this because I'm thinking about all of the different leadership roles that I've had, and my knee-jerk reaction or knee-jerk response is to kind of speak to my personal experience and what I've learned in that space. But one of the first things that I would say is a quality that the leader should have is that you cannot take yourself too serious. That's this one. You kind of have to be a real person in a space if you're dealing with human beings. And I hope I'm explaining this well. But,
no, I can wait for you to explain it more. Like
you're
a real person.
So let me explain. You need to be intentional about providing a space for people to thrive. And when I say to thrive, that means a space where your employees can make mistakes, can grow, because this work requires a lot of trial and error and experimental learning. And the understanding that you're working with someone who has to grow and learn and who's doing a lot of work that's quickly changing, and then you have to create these kind of safe mental spaces for people to work. And that requires you to kind of be introspective on how you're leading them. So that's one, I think, being cognizant on the environment that you're creating for people to do their job and to feel safe when they're doing their job, in a space where they can grow, ask questions, make mistakes, come back again, try it again. So that's one. The other kind of key leadership skill that you should have is be someone who is willing to listen. And by that, you cannot be right all the time. So if you're in a team, you have to be a part of the team. You have to be able to put somebody there so that obviously as a leader, you're making final decisions. But I like to say all the time, it is not my desire to be the smartest person in the room. I want to hire a bunch of smart people, and together, collectively, I want us to be able to be effective in the role. And so with that, I am quite happy as a leader to listen to whomever is a member of my team so that we can get the job done. Another third one, and this is for maybe a lot of women leadership who may feel the urge to be perfect. I've learned that perfection is insecurities dressed up with lipstick and high heel shoes. And
look at me feeling. Look at me feeling. No lipstick. People, I have on flats. I have on flats.
And so this urge to always show up kind of perfect, over demanding, where you're uber independent as if you don't need. I think it's important to know that that's not required in order to be effective, and you can lean onto your community for help, and you can also show vulnerability in the work that you need to do, because you're spending hours in this space. And so back to my original point about being a human being, showing up as a real person with real concerns and real care for your team and the work that you have to do, that's important.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So,
and I didn't say anything about being technical. Note, while you do need to have those competencies to do this work, I'm assuming that people know that already. But I'm talking about how to create a healthy team that will be effective. These are some of the things that I think is needed.
Okay. So essentially, you're creating a safe space so that people know that they can be heard and they can make mistakes and learn from them, and know that they are being mentored by someone that actually wants them to thrive.
That's correct.
Okay. Sounds good, sounds good. So you have reached the segment of the show when I tell you why you were chosen as my WCW.
Thank you. Let me hear.
So first up, I'm gonna do a little backstory. Back in the day when Sam was my boss, we did this thing where we had these code names, and hers was Black Queen.
I can't believe you're bringing that up.
Mine was Ice Princess, but hey, hers was Black Queen. Let's just stick with that. So what? With a nickname like Black Queen, like, come on. Who would not want to crush on all of that right now? Oh, I gave her the queen because she was the boss.
Oh,
so I figured she should have been queen in charge. But I have known Sam also from childhood. Our roots are both in the Bluffs, St. Andrews.
That's correct.
And like she said, the resilience of when you know her story, to see her come from point A to where she is today is just phenomenal. Additionally, as she was my boss, Sam leads from a place of love. It was sometimes overpowering love, but strong love. This is what happens when you're raised with a strong woman in like your life. But she truly believes in staff development. When it was time for me to go out into a leadership post, I wasn't sure I was ready. And she said, girl, you're gonna be great. How could you be less than great after working with me?
That is true. Thank you.
She has always been someone I can call on just to throw stuff off. And when in the 2 years we worked together, I learned a lot. She brought my inner light back out, because a few people had already dimmed that. They had taught me to dim my light to make other people shine. And when she found that flame, she told me, don't ever do that again.
That's true.
And so I was confident enough to lead with my authentic self, but her words of wisdom was always lead from a place with love. So always give grace to others, always show up for others. And that is something that I've carried out through my career and my leadership experience. So I just want to say thank you for all that you are and the phenomenal woman that you will continue to be.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's so good. It feels so good. I mean, it feels so good. I feel like I should hug you.
I know that was coming. I knew that was coming.
So there are so many backstories on this hugging, so we won't go into this today. But thank you so much, Sega. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you so much for selecting me to be your woman's crush today. So I'm appreciative. I feel emotional. Good. I feel good. So I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thanks.
It feels like flowers.
Thank you again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And stay tuned for our next episode. All the best.